We are on Ridge 104.9 FM in Tamale. We are on Kekeli Radio in Ho, Radio Max in Takrady. You can also listen live on Twitter Spaces, myjoyonline.com and Facebook. In this edition, Finance Minister appears before committee to justify why he should not be censured by Parliament as Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu leads team of NDC MPs to testify against him.
We can stand together to censure and remove non-performing, incompetent ministers who mismanage this economy, lead our ordinary citizens into unacceptable hardship.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is meanwhile demanding full details of allegations leveled against him.
So he accordingly claims our indulgence for the full particulars of the facts in support of each of the allegations contained in this letter.
Also, anti-corruption campaigner demands the Vice President takes legal action against disgraced former Minister of State Charles Edubuahin to clear his name in a $200,000 appearance fee, as he insists just a statement to clear the air may not be enough.
If you continue to keep quiet when these things come up and just the issue maybe verbal denial, some people will be convinced that you are probably aware of what is happening. And that is the dangerous part of it, the worrying part of it.
Are you one of such people?
I'm tempted to think so.
And as opinions continue to differ on the latest expose by investigative journalist Anas Arimiyawa Anas, Director of Advocacy at CDD Ghana, says there are more questions than answers in the expose.
It's important that nobody feels that people can arrange a different transaction out of this so that they are not named. And I'm also interested why it took this long to present this information.
Also, don't call me a full-cost recovery as Ghana Real Estate Developers Association demands clarity on government plans to explore the possibility of selling the Saglemi affordable housing project.
It means that we are going to buy these houses for almost $200,000 per unit on the average. I'm not sure whether that is what we are going to call affordable housing. So it actually means that we are probably forgetting about delivering affordable housing at Saglemi.
And in sports,
we'll hear from Black Stars coach Otoado on what went into the selection of the final 26-man squad for the World Cup.
And 1 month after the spillage of excess water from the Wager Dam, which forced 7,000 people out of their homes, residents narrate how they lost everything and the attempt to start afresh. We have details of that and more here on the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu. Please stay for details. Many thanks for staying with us. Let's start off from Parliament, where Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu is this afternoon leading a team of NDC MPs to testify against Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, who they have moved a censure motion against. Other senior minority MPs who are expected to appear before the committee includes Minority Chief Whip Mutaka Mubarak and spokesperson on finance Dr. Kaisa Latoforsin. Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbing referred to the minority motion of censure to this committee, evenly split committee of both NDC and MPP after weeks of heated debate and public exchanges on the continuous stay of Ken Ofori-Atta in office.
Putting a new face on the seat will sort of bring confidence back to the economy, stabilize the markets for us to be able to go to these negotiations. That we are running a democracy. We are not running a family dynasty. That's what people must get into their heads. This party is not just about a certain group of people or a person. This party is about all of us.
We are clear where we belong. We are patriotic, we are nationalistic about this. We are with the Ghanaian people who have sent us to Parliament. Solidarity with them. They are reeling under this 1 month utter disregard for our laws.
How can you unilaterally go and take a decision and you are expecting our members of Parliament to come and support you? That's like shooting ourselves in the foot.
President Nanado says that, even though 2/3 of you have said I should remove him, I'm not removing him. I can assure you the next day we'll file another process to remove the president from office. Now we'll move the heat from the minister that you can't remove to you yourself.
The Minister of Finance will not be the one who must read the budget and must not be the one who do the appropriation. However, we are not going to support the cause of the NDC in the chamber this morning.
If you want to go to Kumasi, you can either go by air, you can travel through vehicle or anything. So if you want a finance minister to go out, we all have the same ultimate game. So they must follow us to do the right.
If you have been parasiting food and they call for free food, it's like your wife has just cooked. So why now they have the free food? The opportunity for the censor is moved, and now they are running away.
can stand together to censure and remove non-performing, incompetent ministers who mismanage this economy, lead our ordinary citizens into unacceptable hardship. And our concern is there simply is no hope inside. With this, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move.
The matter will be referred to an ad hoc committee to investigate, where the minister will have the ample opportunity to defend himself.
And that 8-member ad hoc committee has begun public hearings today. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins us on the line with details of what's happening so far. Kweku, walk us through how this committee intends to do its work. Hello, Kweku. It doesn't look like...
Hello, Emefa. So the committee that is chaired by K.T. Adam Sekwa MP and Dr. Dominica Yene say they will now hear from the minority MPs who are making the allegations, and then they will hear from the finance minister.
We've accordingly decided that we give the proponents of the motion the opportunity to present to us, the committee, and of course, more importantly, to the particular individual involved in this matter, the specific details of what is it that they have by way of evidence to buttress the bare bones that were laid out in Parliament on Thursday. We accordingly have decided to ask them today to set the ball rolling, give the specifics as I've indicated. We then suggested that the Minister of Finance may then have the whole of tomorrow, if we think that might be appropriate for his needs, but it also depends on what he suggests.
That's co-chair of the committee, Katie Hammond. As we speak, we are told that the finance minister, his team is asking for the committee for some requests. They are asking for some requests from the committee in terms of witnesses and amongst others. But shortly, let me take you over to the committee hearing. We are told that Gabi Asare-Chedako is with the finance minister. He's speaking now.
But that list will lead to an expedition which is wide, particularly when we have 1 week here. So I think that the first part of our request, which is full particulars of the facts in support of each of the allegations contained in the letter, must be first adhered to. Because, Mrs. Chairman, if you look at the first charge, if I may, it says this impeccable conflict of interest, ensuring that he directly benefits from Ghana's economic woes as his companies receive commissions and other unethical contractual advantage, particularly from Ghana's debt overhang. This is wide. There are no particulars to this charge. We do not know all the hundreds of bonds that have been raised. We do not know which one they're talking about. If you go further, let me just skip to the last charge, charge 7. It says gross mismanagement of the Ghanaian economy, which has occasioned untold and unprecedented hardship. If you give us PIAC report, if you give us staff reports of 2018, 2019, 2020. With all due respect, it would take us about maybe 2 months to go through all that. And it would not be fair to the Minister of Finance to be ambushed and right here, without any preparation, to start answering questions. And in any event, Mrs. Chairman, if we do not constrain the accusers within the 4 walls of what they intend.
I think you object to being called an accuser.
Well, how would you like to?
Very, very strongly. I mean, if I quote the president when he himself says that...
I do apologize. I do apologize.
That's not an allegation. Yeah,
I do apologize. May I just... I do apologize.
And then, Chama, if you can get 1 minute, you see...
let me just finish it.
I don't
want to get involved
here and give us evidence that data benefited 159 million between 2017 to 2021 from bonds issued and from borrowing. And then, Chairman, as I said, National Cathedral, we see a warrant signed by the minister for 1 million.
Okay, let me finish.
Mrs. Chairman, first of all, my apologies for calling you an accuser. Mrs. Chairman, all we are asking for, and if I just, let me just repeat, before we start this proceeding, all we are asking for, in the interest of justice, is that we should be furnished with the full particulars of the facts in support of each of the allegations contained in the letter.
Okay.
And then the supporting documents.
If I may chip in here. Some of the documents listed, in fact, all the documents listed are public documents. And some of them are reported by the finance minister himself. They are reported or they are in the custody of the finance minister himself. Right? So I would disagree with you if you were to suggest that even in respect of those documents, the finance minister needs a lot of time to study them, especially when he's the author of the documents. And some of them, under the laws of this country, report. No, they are.
What you're hearing there is live proceedings from Parliament, that 8-member ad hoc committee put together by the Speaker to look at that motion of censure brought before it by the minority and some other MPs for the removal of Ken Ofori-Atta. You just heard Gabi Asare-Chidako, who is representing Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, who himself is at that committee hearing. They are demanding facts represented by all witnesses. Kweku Asante is with me. He is there for us and joins us on the line. Kweku, help us make sense of what's currently happening in the House.
So we just heard from Gabi Asare-Chidako, who is acting as the legal representative of the finance minister. They are saying that the grounds, the specific facts upon which the minority leader and his proponents will be relying on must be made available to them. The minority leader, however, insists that some of these documents are in the public domain. Some of these documents have already been altered by the finance ministry themselves. And you heard Gabi there say that there are some of the documents they are presenting to them. It could take them months for them to be able to go through all of that. So they want specific allegations so that they can focus their defense. It is expected that the co-chairman of the committee will make a ruling on this preliminary objection, whether or not the documents as have been presented are enough, or that the minority and his team would have to drill down on the specific allegations and the facts, the evidentiary basis they'll be relying on to make these claims against the finance minister. But as you could see there, it is now split between the NPP and NDC members on the committee. You have some of the NDC members saying that the claims and the request of the finance minister is outlandish, whilst you heard there from the Honorable Jepamesa and Kwame Anyimadu that these requests are key for the finance minister to be able to properly prepare his defense in this matter.
But we know that the committee has 7 days to present its report to Parliament. From what we have seen so far, are we sure they're able to keep to the timeline?
Indeed, that is the committee's own headache. They've been saying that they want to be able to do this as quick as possible. They wanted to hear from the minority then his team today and use tomorrow and the next day, if it's possible, to hear from the finance minister and then prepare their report either on Thursday and Friday and present him to the House. But it seems as though a number of preliminary objections to be raised. Already, they've spent close to an hour debating which form the facts and the evidence the minority leader will be relying on to be presented to the finance minister. This is expected to drag on for a while. And so if these back and forth on these technicalities drag on, the committee will be at pains to again request from the Speaker of Parliament for an extension of the 7-day tenure.
That's Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kwekwa Sante monitoring events for us. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Also live proceedings on the Joy News channel. Well, the NPP members of Parliament who had demanded the removal of the finance minister earlier will later meet today to decide how to pile more pressure on the president to sack Ken Ofori-Atta with immediate effect. Spokesperson for the group and MP for Asante Achim North, Andy Apiakubi, says the plan to boycott all government business in Parliament will be back on the table when they finally meet later today. We can hear from Andy Apiakubi, is the NPP MP for Asante Achim North.
The position is still unchanged. Look to affirm that position, or if we have to alter it, it will come out of tomorrow's meeting. But for now, what I know is that the group has taken a decision not to participate in any assignment from the president, from the finance minister. But what I'm assuring you is the fact that me as a person, I won't be present if it will take Ken Ofori-Atta to present the budget.
That's Asante Achim North MP Andy Apiakubi. And as the dust begins to settle on the latest expose by investigative journalist Anas Arimiyahu Anas implicating former Minister of State for soliciting funds in the name of the Vice President and anti-corruption campaigner Vitus Azim wants Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to take legal action against Charles Dubois to fully clear his name. According to him, the statement by the Vice President office is not enough to exonerate him of wrongdoing. Mr. Dubois, who was since been sacked by Finance Minister, is seen in the video collecting money in the name of the Vice President. Dr. Gideon Bwaku speaks for the Vice President.
I have no idea why he said so. I work so closely with the Vice President. I don't remember the last time Charles Dubois visited in the Vice President's house. I'm always with the Vice President from morning to evening. And I don't remember the last time I even saw Charles in his house. I don't remember the last time Charles had a private conversation with the Vice President, apart from coming for EMT meetings.
Well, anti-corruption campaigner Vitus Azim finds the Vice President's position untenable. He wants Dr. Bawumia to take legal action to clear his name.
This is not the first time that the Vice President's name is being mentioned in connection with something like that. So what I'm saying is, I think that if somebody goes about using my name to do things that I don't support or I don't know about, I have a right to go to court and ask for. I'm not a lawyer, but I think that I should be able to go to court and insist that that person either stops doing what he or she is doing or compensates me for using my name dragging my name into the mud. So that's one thing. But if you continue to keep quiet when these things come up and just the issue maybe verbal denial, it gives people the impression that maybe you are implicated in a way.
Well, hundreds of Ghanaians as well as some dignitaries, including U.S. Ambassador Virginia Palmer, showed up at the Accra International Conference Center last night to watch the public viewing. Some of them have been sharing their views with Joy News.
The investigation wasn't on Galamsey as the heading was. I felt it was misleading.
Applaud the President of the Republic, Nana Akufo-Addo, for taking a good decision by sacking Charles Dubois from office.
Well, Director of Advocacy at the Center for Democratic Development, Dr. Kojo Pumpuni-Asante, says Anas owes it a duty to let Ghanaians know the identity of the individuals.
Why we didn't see these characters, because the transcripts, at least from the morning, make it clear that these were people who played a role in whatever transaction was going on. So I think that is a valid question that has to be put to Anas. You know, what was he making a journalistic decision? Is there some legal risk decision that?
Well, that's Dr. Kojo Pumpuni-Asante. I'll take you live to Parliament now, where Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and his lawyer Gabi Asare-Okyere-Darko are currently before that 8-member ad hoc committee put together to look at the issue about the censure of the Finance Minister. Let's take live proceedings.
if we keep an idea, we'll stick to it. We are not going to, if you don't want us to work.
So currently we are told there's some controversy about the documents that's supposed to be submitted by the witnesses. You know that Gabia Sarichodako, representing the finance minister, they are demanding the facts to be presented to them. The committee chair, that's Katie Hammond, and Dominic Kayine had mentioned that some of the documents are public documents such that they don't expect that they will be demanding for such documents. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent will be joining us, but there's a small lull there in Parliament. But let me see if they are back with proceedings. Let's go back.
The fact that you should give the minister.
Well, I take you now there, and my colleague Kweku Asante joins us on the line. So, Kweku, we understand there's some misunderstanding over whether the documents actually should be presented. Give us more details.
Indeed, Chairman of the committee, Katie Hammond, has just varied on that. What he's saying is that the minority should now present the specifics. For instance, if you are relying on the Public Financial Management Act, which specific provisions? If you are referring to the Auditor General's report, some of them 1,000 pages, very bulky, which specific aspects of the Auditor General's report are you going to rely on? So he proposed that the committee should take a break of 1 hour so that the minority leader and Dr. Asofo-Sen could go through this and present it back. Well, Dr. Asofo-Sen says he can do this in 5 minutes. Katie Hammond says no, he insists they need 1 hour. So there was some back and forth before the co-chairman of the committee called lawyer for the finance minister, Gabia Sarichodako, to come. So they've just conferred with each other, and a ruling is expected to be made in the next moment in terms of how the committee is expecting to proceed.
Well, so that's Kweku Asante there. And I see that Dominic Kayine, the co-chair for the committee, is currently addressing the committee. Let's see if we have the feed there from the Joy News channel.
The demand is that the minority.
Well, so you've been hearing from my colleague Kweku Asante. Kweku, so fill us in. What really is the issue now? But it looks like Dominic Kayine is speaking. Kweku will give us details. But let's hear from Dr. Dominic Kayine.
The PR reports. He said
2021, 2020.
2021, 2021.
And probably the half-year report for 2022. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. And then half-year report. Half-year 2022. Council, are you ready to address us?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I've spoken to the client, and we will concede to the guidance and wisdom of the chair.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Thank you very much for obliging. Now, honorable members,
thank you.
We will bring proceedings to a start, no, not to a close, by swearing in the proponents of the motion. So, clerk, please go ahead and swear in the proponents of the motion.
Mr. Chairman, for clarity, I am not part of I'm not a proponent of the motion, so should I still, because of the wording you use, am I still going to be sworn?
You are going to give evidence before this committee.
So, but because of the wording you use, that's why I want to get clarity, because for the proponent of the motion, it was moved by, seconded by Honorable Muntaga.
The motion, for all practical purposes, emanated from the minority.
Exactly.
And in fact, I myself am a proponent of the motion, despite the fact that I'm sitting here. All right. Thank you.
Joy 99.7 FM.
No. You wanted them. So kindly repeat after me. I,
Haruna Idrisu,
solemnly swear
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee touching the matter in issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you very much. Honorable Atufosin.
Can you repeat after me? I,
Kasia Atufosin,
swear by the Almighty God
that
the evidence I shall give
before this committee
touching the matter in issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minority Leader and Honorable Atufosin, the ranking member on finance, you are aware that this is a referral from Mr. Speaker pursuant to Order 1061 of the standing orders of this House. You are also aware that on the 10th day of November, that is Thursday, November 10th, 2022, the Honorable Minority Leader did move his motion before the House, and that is the same motion that has been referred to us. It's reported in the Hansard at paragraph 83 of the Hansard of that day. Your duty here is to lead evidence before the committee in respect of each of the grounds stipulated in your motion. And so I will give you the opportunity, the chairs will give you the opportunity to execute that duty. I'm told that the Honorable Minority Leader will first make a statement, and then the Honorable Atufosin will then proceed with leading the evidence in support of each of the grounds. So,
thank you very much. Chairman, if I have your indulgence, understandably, I would like to proceed by tendering in parliamentary debate official report of 10th November 2022 in evidence, which is the motion I move, which was ably seconded by the Whip, the Honorable Muntaka, expecting full debate. And Chairman, as I said, we are dissatisfied with the performance of the Honorable Minister for Finance, and we think that he's not competent enough to continue to hold office as Ghana's minister responsible for finance, because Chairman, as we have said, so since I took counsel on gross 7, gross mismanagement of the Ghanaian economy, which has occasionally told that hardship. I'm just taking one.
Sorry, what are you doing now? He's making a statement, opening statement. Go on, it's settled. No. Honorable Minority Leader, may you proceed.
So, Chairman, we have grounds, and grounds, I just take two and yield the floor to the Honorable Atufosin. And as I said, let me start with National Cathedral. I mean, Ghana, very respected religious country where there is coexistence, both Muslims and Christians alike. Nobody is against the president promising and honoring God with a cathedral for the purpose of the expression of the Christian faith. But when public resources is used for that purpose, it needs us to call into question. So the clerk of the committee, I just gave you a warrant signed by the Honorable Minister for Finance for some amount of money for the cathedral, and that's what you are holding, the first document. Just give me that. So I'll tender this in evidence and say that we are aware that by a warrant signed by Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, Minister, 29th October 2022, an expenditure of 142,762,500 Ghana cedis was allocated for the construction of the cathedral. Want to know when parliamentary approval was granted for this purpose. And then also I refer to the Auditor General's report. And Chairman, when we say, for instance, I just picked two, as I said, I'll yield to the Honorable Atuforsen. Fiscal recklessness. Today, what is Ghana's national debt position? We have been told by the World Bank.
So you're listening to the Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu before that 8-member ad hoc committee in Parliament making a case for the censure of the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Well, we bring you live proceedings, and it is on the Joy News channel, also on all our social media platform, on Joy Prime, also on myjoyonline.com. That's how we end today's edition of the Midday News. Many thanks for your company here. We have Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil. Please stay.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Charlie, in life, some